Hello, guys. Today it's Matt, one of your hosts, and we have the other host, Kaz. She'll be talking later to you about muscle atrophy in space a bit later. I'll just go over the learning objectives. From this lesson, students will know about muscle atrophy of astronauts. Students will know how exercise can reduce atrophy. You guys will know about other environments outside of Earth. Some of our finest technological advancements have got us outside of Earth, and lots of experiments are going on up in the International Space Station, and they're helping us inform our daily life. After this lesson, students will be able to interpret, comprehend, and demonstrate knowledge and understandings that you've learnt through this lesson, and that'll be in the form of a quiz. So towards the end of this lesson, there'll be a quiz that's handed out, and it'll test what you've learnt from the lesson. And it'll help us inform how well we've designed this lesson. Understanding that you'll develop is that you'll understand how gravity plays a role in physical movement and muscle development.
Hi everyone, so I'm Cass. So first of all, before we go and discuss the atrophy of astronauts, it's important to know what atrophy is. Atrophy is the wasting of muscles where they decrease in bulk and also their length, as can be seen within these two images. This means that the muscles lose strength, weight, and definition. It also limits the range of motion. So, due to microgravity in space, astronauts don't have to use their muscles to do everyday things as we do here on Earth, such as walking, standing, and sitting without a backrest, which all use muscles more than what we may think. The reason we use these muscles is because gravity is pushing back against what we are trying to do, and this causes protein synthesis, which causes the muscles to build and develop. When astronauts get into microgravity within space travel, these muscles are not being used at all due to weightlessness, interrupting protein synthesis, and from this time, they start to waste away. The main muscles which are affected are the postural muscles, specifically the back and leg muscles, which work against gravity to maintain our bodies upright. After just 2 weeks in space, muscle mass can be diminished by up to 20%, which can increase to around 40% on longer missions, around 3 to 6 months. Not only is muscle mass reduced a significant amount, muscular power is lost within microgravity, and after a 6-month mission, it was recorded that an astronaut's calf muscle lost 50% of its explosive force. Not only is muscle mass and force lost in space, but also peak power, peak force velocity, maximal velocity, increased thin filament density, decreased fiber diameter, muscle volume, and around 15 to 20% of slow twitch muscle fibers are known to transition into fast twitch muscle fibers. Due to the knowledge of astronauts losing muscle mass and strength in space, it is important that they follow a strict intensive training before the mission, no matter its length. This physical conditioning is done to optimise strength and endurance for the longest possible time. And figure 2 here on the screen is actually an astronaut getting tested for all of these sorts of things, just to enable that he is prepared and ready to go into space. So now I'm going to show you a clip of astronauts exercising in space, and it's really interesting. Just pay attention to a few of the things that they do, and I'll discuss it after.
We all know exercise is good for us, but during spaceflight and exploration missions, it is essential for maintaining healthy bones, muscles, and heart. On Earth, a woman over 50 who is untreated for bone loss can lose 2% of hip bone mass in 1 year. In space, astronauts can lose the same amount in a single month. Additionally, muscle mass and strength can be reduced as much as 20 to 40% during long-duration missions. Astronauts exercise up to 2.5 hours a day, 6 days a week, to minimize the negative effects of spaceflight on their bodies. Exercise has the added benefit of reducing stress and contributing to an overall feeling of well-being. The aerobic exercise of running or cycling promotes the circulation of oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to all parts of the body. Astronauts on the International Space Station, or ISS, have a new advanced treadmill, the Colbert, respectfully named after television personality Stephen Colbert. Astronauts and researchers are excited about the Colbert because it offers greater running speeds than the original treadmill and is also instrumented so that load data can be collected during running. This will help ensure each crew member is getting an optimal workout. Resistive exercise, like lifting or moving a mass, is also key to strengthening and toning muscles and increasing bone mass. Ordinarily, this works because gravity pulls weight down and we pull it back up. During space exploration, where gravity is reduced, astronauts need a device to mimic the resistance normally provided by gravity. The Advanced Resistive Exercise Device, or ARED, simulates weight-bearing exercise. Travel to Mars and beyond will require longer exposure to reduced gravity. There is much for us to learn before we can attempt long-duration missions. However, exercise, coupled with proper nutrition and possibly medications, will help to combat the effects of radiation, reduced gravity, and stress.
So when astronauts are in space, they use a range of exercise machines as seen within the video. A cycle ergometer, a treadmill, an advanced resistance exercise device, and also in other videos it can be seen that astronauts also use a squat machine. As you could see, when the astronaut is doing the last exercise with the advanced resistance exercise device, his posture is a bit all over the place. This may be due to diminished back muscles, which are used to keep the back straight whilst doing things such as walking and also being a support whilst exercising on Earth. These muscles being decreased makes an exercise like this difficult, as you could see. After astronauts get back to Earth, they do not go back to life as normal. They complain of muscle soreness and tight hamstrings and calves. They attend an aggressive conditioning and rehabilitation program. Within this program, there is adapted exercises, massages, intensive icing, and anti-inflammatory agents are used. In most cases, muscle mass and strength are fully recovered after 1 to 2 months back on Earth.
Hey guys, it's Matt again. I'm just going to show a video of astronauts getting back to space, and they're landing in Russia, and they're being picked up out of the space capsule. And you'll notice that they're not climbing out and walking themselves. They have lost a lot of muscle mass, and they don't really have the same strength that they had when they left Earth. It takes astronauts a long time to recuperate. For every day they are up in space, it takes 1 day back on Earth to recover the muscle. So I'll just play the video for you guys, and you'll get an idea of how they are unloaded out of the probe, and you just see how astronauts land back on Earth and how they arrive.
Soyuz TMA-10M is the designation for the Soyuz craft.
That's great.
This again a replay as they were preparing to extract the crew. The extraction stand in place over the Soyuz craft there. And then last but not least, getting out of the Soyuz craft, NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins.
He's there.
You can see him coming down off the Soyuz craft, being carried over to his waiting seat, big smile on his face. Mike Hopkins also completing his first space flight.
Move over here.
Alright, as you saw in the video, the astronauts were carried out of the probe, and they gave them some nice warm blankets to wait until they travel to their next destination. Now, as you know, on the International Space Station, because of the microgravity, the same force that would normally be exerted on your body while you're running on Earth isn't there. So as we see, there's two photos here. One is of a man running on Earth, and the other one is of astronaut Karen Nyberg, and she's running on the Kolber treadmill. And as you notice, there's a big difference between their posture. Now, as Kaz said before, one of the reasons might be that Karen's muscles have started to decay because they haven't been used at all. So all the materials in the cells have been recycled in the body. Astronauts lose a lot of blood when they first arrive on the International Space Station. And even when we're standing up, our muscles are being used. So I've got a bit of an activity which gives you an idea of how gravity is exerted on our body. Try standing up on the spot in an open space and gradually relax your muscles. However, don't allow yourself to fall over completely. Now, the question is, why do you fall? And I'll give you guys 2 minutes for that question. All right, guys. That's time finished. We'll get back to the presentation when you're ready. Next up, we've got a bit of a quiz for you. Back when I started the presentation, I discussed that we were going to test whether we met our learning objectives. And the teacher will have a bit of a quiz questionnaire to hand out to you to complete within 5 minutes. And in that time, try and answer all the questions to demonstrate the knowledge and understandings that you've developed in this lesson. At the end of 5 minutes, hand up the quiz to Mr. Rowe, and we'll get an idea of what you've learnt from this lesson so we can continually develop the lesson further if we wish to present it to other students. Now, I'll just put on a 6-minute timer, a minute for Mr. Rowe to hand out the quiz questionnaires, and you'll have the 5 minutes to do the questionnaire. Hey guys, we've come to the end of our time in the quiz. If you could hand up the quiz questionnaire to Mr. Rowe, that would be wonderful. Thank you for looking at our presentation. If you wanted to look at any of the resources that we looked at in the slides, the NASA website's a good one to look at, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube, and you can look up astronauts on the International Space Station, and they'll give you a perspective of what life is like on the International Space Station, living in microgravity. So thank you. That was Matt.
Thanks everyone from Cass.
Bye.